I'm looking to actually go short here. Here at the upper range of that first 30-minute range that I've gone over before. The yellow line you see right here is an indicator of the high of the first 30 minutes of the day, the trading day. I want to see if we can't get a pullback to the upper trend line, and see if we don't get a little bit of a flush through and come into this 200 period moving average. We'll see what happens here. Get a little bit of buying coming back in. Got a couple of nice confusion wicks, and you guess you can call them a confusion wick. You've got a little bit of an inside bar here. This kind of looks like, I mean, you could say this could be sort of a flag, but what we're looking for is a bit of a failure. We want to see price come down here and make that attempt at the tag of the upper trend line that's been holding us back pretty much all day. That's something we want to see, that we'd like to see. We'll make our decisions. Obviously, we're going to get some support down here. These two moving averages are going to probably converge, just depending on how this comes in, how price travels into that area, and that'll act as some sort of support, either above that or below that, just depending on how people react to it and how it looks at that time. But we want to be in front of all that. We want to play around that. We've got stochastics in an overbought level, which is a good thing. It's just another example of us using the, like I've talked about before, that first 30-minute range, the upper and lower highs and lows of that range. What we can actually do too is determine, normally what we could do is determine like say for example we were placing a trade down here, we can determine that this may be a good area for a target. But since we're at the very upper end, we're not looking to have a trade that comes all the way back down here to the lows. Rather, we're going to trade inside of this range and look for possible exits inside of this range. I'm going to adjust this just a bit, just so I can get a little, make it a little bit clearer for myself what the actual support will be. You don't necessarily have to be exact when you're drawing your trend lines, but when you're actually using them, you're going to have to make sure you're point to point, pretty spot on. And then understand that that doesn't mean that we don't come right above it and bounce, or right below it and bounce. So you just got to play it accordingly, manage the trade based on your own risk. Still got a little bit of buying in here. We don't have much in the way of selling pressure yet, so we want to see that before here pretty soon. It's about 11:30, so we're definitely pushing our lunchtime limit in terms of our trading rules. But we don't exactly expect this to do much other than maybe chop around until the end of the day. But obviously never say never. We'll see if we can't get that chop back down, and we'll be able to manage it from there. You can see here that our stop is actually above what would be the resistance that would definitely tell us to go ahead and exit the position. So right now we're just where we want to be, right in that little groove where you don't really need much to tell you that you're wrong. I want to see this catch some momentum quick to the downside. We don't want it to continue to hang around here for too long, because obviously time is definitely an issue in each minute and even second that ticks by. It really does change the dynamics of the trade. So we want to watch this pretty carefully. What I am going to do is kind of limit my risk here. I'm going to take one contract there, just to bring down what I'm doing here. And I've got 3 contracts. I had 3 contracts on. Now I've only got 2 contracts on. What I can also do is bring up my stop to above. It's nothing too exact here, but you don't want to start crowding it yet because the trade has just begun. But we're going to bring it above this candlestick. We know that if we get above this, chances are we'll have surpassed any type of trend line that may have existed there, and trend line of resistance. So we'll watch this. You can see how the moving averages here are now converging. Now y'all can probably see that out much clearer, what I was talking about before. We've got about 3 ticks of risk here on this trade for these last 2 contracts. So I'm going to bring that down to about 2, so that way we're right above, or excuse me, we're right at that the high of this bar right here. I'll expand that so I can see a little bit better. The high of this bar right here. We don't want to be involved anywhere past that. We actually want to see this bar fail. We don't want to see it close very well. So we want to see price hopefully come into this little bit of a this little area right here. I'll adjust that. Hopefully somewhere around in here, and then fail. We don't have any of the hourly wedge patterns inside bar from the webinar. We don't have any of that setting up. We're getting that cross that we talked about earlier. They're on the 20 moving average and the 200 moving average. This is a 5-minute chart, by the way. I tend to go from a 5-minute to a 1-minute. Very rarely much higher than that, unless I'm doing looking for major trend lines that should come into play. Maybe we just got stopped out there.